Okay, once again, welcome to the next lecture that I will help to you in research methodology. So, to tell you the review of related literature which is found in chapter 2, before we proceed with the chapter 4, I would like to let you know that 1/4 of the research content it found the chapter 2, which is the review of related literature. So in this matter, I have to give more information and more additional information about the related literatures added. The one that I have last time is only few information about the local literature. Here, it is more information about our local literature here in the Philippines, the education system. So, the local literature here is the word accreditation means many things to different persons or organizations. Its varied implications depend on how each institution uses it to denote something. That is accreditation of hospitals by PALATI, the accreditation of services by the Civil Service Commission, the tertiary education expanded accreditation program by CHED, accreditation of all private schools in general, elementary to tertiary done formerly by DEC, and accreditation of educational institutions by the accrediting bodies of agencies both locally and internationally. Accreditation is an assessment or evaluation of the quality of an educational program or institution. A higher education institution, or the SEI, is assessed in the different areas like mission, goals, and objectives, faculty curriculum and instruction, student summer experience, physical plans, facilities, library, laboratories, research and extension services, and administration in the organization by Ramirez of 2007. Okay, following next, it is a means of stimulating and accelerating the institutional growth and development of schools, serving to achieve greater excellence, relevance, and effectiveness. Accreditation provides a public confirmation in that the educational institutions are doing in its program are acceptable quality. So for the Surah of 2001, accreditation is a readiness, read through the labyrinth of processes to get at the most minute, which is substandard education in a diploma mill institution. It enhances cooperation among the faculty, students, and support staff. Coming together as a college, they work towards a common direction, quality education, and it becomes a happy leverage for the college to be granted requests for facilities which may have been on the line for a long time. It fosters healthy exchange of ideas and expertise among state universities and colleges. So this is the so-called SUCS, wherein a school community gets involved to ensure quality education, and where the alumni and the community are important parts in the school operation, and where weaknesses and problems surface to be attended to. while strengths improve. Accreditation is not an end itself, but rather than it is meant to be end-to-end being quality education. It opens the eyes of an institution and organization only to its strengths, but also most importantly to its weaknesses, so that the institution concerned would be given the right direction. It moves forward the aforementioned, and thus, in whatever angle it is viewed, accreditation seems to be a proactive endeavor. So here, as mentioned by one author, that doing the accreditation because we are not being called as a diploma mill. And we see above the diploma mill, no quality education. So, in order to have the quality education, so they have to undergo accreditation. Okay? As I said, 1/4 or 25% of the study is a review of. Okay? The history. The operation of the accreditation in the Philippines spans a period of 50 years, a period of 60 years. Specifically, its history covers a period from 1949 to 2006. In 1949, a Joint Congressional Committee on Education proposed the idea of institutional accreditation as a means of grading the standards set to be imposed by the government upon the schools, which initiated a formal legal basis of accreditation. In 1970, due to public clamor to improve the quality of education in the Philippines, especially higher education, the Presidential Commission on Survey Philippine Education was formed. As a result, there were recommendations which included the formation of accrediting associations in that of a Federation of Accrediting Associations. This was referred to the Integrated Reorganization Plan. So IRP means Integrated Reorganization Plan. This brought about Presidential Decree number 64, the Educational Development Decree of 1972, and Presidential Decree 1200 as the National Economic Development Authority. 5-year plan were issued in both, provided that the accreditation program shall be one of the strategies to achieve quality education and manpower development goals, the so-called FAAP of 1992. Another recommendation was the promotion of a policy of environment that support the accreditation process by the Commission on the Higher Education, which is the so-called CHED. This is the governing body of the higher education. This brought about Presidential Decree number 6-7. Okay? So, the acceptance of accreditation by the government was shown in the Provided Educational Act of 1982, a law which is known as Batas Pambansa bilang 323, with passage during the incumbency of the Dr. Onofre Corpus, in which the legal basis of the actions of the part of DEX regarding accreditation. DEX is the Department of Education, Culture, and Sport. Okay. Next. In 1984, the Ministry of Education issued Order number 36, which made accreditation a regular function and shared with the different professional associations of the accrediting association in terms of progressive deregulations of the qualified institutions and programs. This was definitely one of the benefits and privileges given to accredited institutions. The so-called MIC, the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sport, Order number 36 of series of 1984 was revised by DEC. The DEC is the Department of Education, Culture, and Sport, Order number 32, series of 1987, which provided incentives for private institutions that sought accreditation, and now it is called the DepEd, or the Department of Education. Okay? So the Philippine Accreditation Association of Universities and Colleges, the first voluntary accrediting association, was established as a principle but not in operation. In the year 1989, 3 professional associations were represented in this group, namely the Philippine Association, as the Philippine Association Colleges and Universities, called as PACO, the PACU, the Association of Christian Schools and Colleges, means ACSA or ACSA, and the Catholic Educational Association of the Philippines, which is CEP or CEAP, by Brother Gabriel, invited American expert to help. Thus, it's establishing food betrayers in the United States system. Okay? So, the emphasis of the Philippine accreditation system is on the problem. Of the quality, viewed as a deficit term to define, for it depends in one's orientation but also acquired more than the minimum standard percent in regulation. Okay? On August 17, 1992, the DEC, the Department of Education, Culture, and Sport, issued Order number 92, series of 1992, relevant to the revised policies on voluntary accreditation and regulations, provided for a new set of policies. Many memoranda and Presidential Decree Order number 93-93, series of 1992, laid down the first legal basis on the use of accreditation strategy to improve the quality of education as a part of the DEC regularity function. DEC Order number 93, series of 1992, revealed the following: the Bureau of Private Schools, Circular number 10, series of 1967, Memorandum number 42, series of 1968, the provisions of MIC, or the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sport, Order number 36, series of 1994, Rule 4, Section 5, Section 3, Section 5, and 6A of the Rules and Regulations for the implementation of Batas Pambansa bilang 343, the DEC Order number 32, series of 1987, DEC Order number 36, series of 1988, DEC Order number 54, series of 1991, and other existing issuance contrary to or inconsistent with DEC Order number 93, series of 1992. The above different issuance of policies on accreditation from 1984 to 1994 For the decks reveal the shifting policy regarding the role of accreditation in the maintenance of standards due to every change of leadership in the education. So the national policy of accreditation also changes with the Observation Task Force of 1994 that did a research on accreditation. As of 1992 then, a total of 301 FAAP certified institutions, while there were 304 collegiate private accreditation, 29 of which were program of the colleges in the Philippines. Okay. It is one of the authors says that. Okay. Under CHED Commission on Higher Education, Order Number 31-3/1995, voluntary accreditation has been encouraged and has gained prominence. This asserts that the CHED will promote a policy environment that supports the accreditation process. Thus, accreditation has become important for the school administration, because schools only have the minimum requirements for permits and recognition to join the mark of those formally recognized schools for high quality standards. The DEX issued Order Number 92, Series of 97, revised policies provided for new sets, which include: it is a policy of the Department of Education to encourage and assist education in institutions which desire to improve their education standards above the minimum required for recognition. And in furtherance of this policy, the Department encourages the establishment of voluntary, non-governmental and accreditation system to assist the Department in the exercise of its regular functions. The Department will promote a policy of environment which supports the non-government and voluntary character, protects the integrity of the accreditation process. So the legal basis of accreditation in the Philippines are 1970, the Presidential Commission on to Survey Philippine Education, or the PCSPE, submitted a policy recommendations to improve and strengthen higher education. So these are the basis of the local education system in our country. As I mentioned that 1/4 of the studies consists the review of the related literature. Okay. Okay. To continue, among others, it recommended that schools be encouraged to join or organize accrediting associations, and that a federation of accrediting agencies, we call that FAAP, be established. The Commission report, better known as the Integrated Reorganization Plan, Presidential Decree Number 1, approved and adopted the IRP, the Presidential Decree Number 1200, or the NEDA, the National Economic Development Authority for 5 years plan. Both provided the accreditation shall be one of the strategies to achieve educational and manpower goals. The numerous DEX orders have been issued to articulate the government policy on accreditation. So the DEX Order 93, Series of 1992, and the new Manual of Regulation for Private Schools have been circulated voluntary accreditation as means of ensuring quality education. So in this matter, it is trying to say that the accreditation is a voluntary. This voluntary, if you want to be accredited your school, you should observe the areas of accreditation. You have to pass that in order that your system of education has a good quality system. So again, it is a voluntary action. So, okay, next is about the rationale. So in rationale, the rationale for accreditation is a means of stimulating and accelerating the institutional growth and development of schools desiring to achieve greater excellence, relevance, and effectiveness. It is also a way of encouraging those schools a child to have attained desirable standards to do even better. Accreditation that provides a public confirmation that what the educational institution is doing and its program is of acceptable high quality. So in this case, if you pass the standard, it means you pass the high standard of accreditation. So I would like to recommend that your review of literature has a relationship with your studies, and you get also the foreign and the local based study. Mine it is based from the local study. Okay? So basis to accreditation is based on accepted standards. Each school seeking accreditation will be surveyed and evaluated in terms of the appropriateness and adequacy of its philosophy and objectives, and in terms of the degree and competence with which it achieves its goals. It is concerned with the teacher-learning relationship, which provides the opportunities for institutional growth through self-study and evaluation, self-regulation, and admit periodic review, critics, and readjustment of the criteria, policies, and procedures to changes in education. To be accredited by an authorized accrediting agency, an educational institution must demonstrate that it satisfied. So meaning, you must be, not only the system of education will change, but even the teachers and the learner relationship will improve. So in other words, it helps a lot the accreditation, and it satisfies everybody. Okay? Next is letter A is the general instructional requirements. In general instructional requirements, it has formally adopted an appropriate mission statement. It offers educational programs or curricula. Consistent with that mission, it has a visible number of students actively pursuing courses at the time of the evaluation. It has a charter or legitimate authorities to award certificates, diplomas, or degrees to each person who has successfully compiled with the requirements of an educational program. It has a governing board that includes representatives reflecting the interests of the public. It has documented its funding base, financial resources, and plans for the financial development adequate to carry out its stated purposes. It has financial statements that are externally audited on a regular basis by a certified public accountant or a CPA or agency, and substantially complete description of each program, activities and procedures, and graduated at least 3 batches before the evaluation. So in this case, there is such a provision that it is being adopted the mission statement of any educational program, and it should be evaluated first by if there are a financial statement in the school audited by any accountant, because they are the only one who has an access in auditing. The four evaluative criteria include the following. There are 4 evaluating criteria that include the following. So number 1 here is it has clearly and publicly stated purposes, consistent of the mission. It has effectively organized adequate human, financial, and physical resources through educational and other programs to accomplish its purposes. Okay? And the next is concept of accreditation. Concept of accreditation. The concept of accreditation includes the following. Accreditation is voluntary. The demarcation line between progressive and outdated institution. It is self-assurance of the way business is carried on. Only organizations which have a firm resolve to voluntarily and critically submit themselves to self-assessment and later to evaluations of outside stakeholders come out as champions of the quality programs and or institution. Okay? So accreditation is done by peers. The only way of any institution to know its strengths and weaknesses is for outside stakeholders to have objective perception of the overall performance of the institution visa internal self-assurance of its processes and programs, and the public recognition of the institution's overall output in terms of quality graduates and services. So accreditation ends in public perception. Quality assurance begins with the institution assessment of its own programs and processes and ends in public perception. The general impressions of the public on the institution and or its program, and an essential element in the accreditation system, considering that it's from the public where the institution clientele comes. Every higher education institution or the SEI aiming to crave a name in the map, the Philippine education system should make its assessment effort a basic undertaking only through the accreditation system that it never process, I should say. In this case, the concept of accreditation says that I mentioned about accreditation is voluntary. Why? They're not forcing the other schools to be evaluated, and it should be done by peers. Why peers? Because these peers, you could know the institution's strengths and weaknesses. They will tell what are the strengths, and they will tell also what are the weaknesses. So in this case, it helps the institution in a one way or another. Okay? So next is the process. So the process is the evaluation process for both initial and continued accreditation status of an institution or involves the following steps. The first, self-study. The institution undertakes a self-study which examines the practices and activities of the program in relation to its objectives and the contents of the institution's mission and environment. So meaning, as the process of evaluation for accreditation, we have the following steps. The first step is the self-study. Everyone knows what is a self-study. I should say it is very self-explanatory. Second, on-site verification. In on-site verification, the institution is visited for an on-site verification and evaluation by a selected group of peers as consultants or evaluators who report to the accrediting body. So these are the so-called on the site itself that they have to verify. The accreditors, they are the one who will go to the schools to look into the different areas of accreditation. They are not the official of the school. We're going to the accrediting body, but they are the accrediting body will go to their school. They will verify on the site itself. Okay. Third, the review of reports. Review of reports. The Board of Commissioners review the self-study reports, team reports, all recommendations, and institutional responses before taking official action of the accreditation of the institution and or program. So, after the on-site verification, it follows the review of the report. What are these reports? The different papers presented, it should be reviewed. Okay? Next, the level of quantity is judged by the degree to which the objectives are manipulated, the objectives are maintained with the actual practice and accomplishment in the various evaluated. Thus, institution or program are judged on the basis of the total pattern presented by the institution. So the institution and or program online accredited status when accorded. For recognition on accrediting agency attesting that the institution and or program are par with pre-established educational standards of quantity. So these are the following process on how you will undergo an accreditation. Okay? So, the next is, benefits, of course. Who will benefit the accreditation? Here, benefits. So, accreditation benefits the learning institutions as follows. Improves the institution through self-study, self-evaluation, and self-policy, regardless of its corporate nature, philosophy, and objectives, guides the public, parents, and students in the choice of quality schools that will meet their individual educational needs. Simplifies transfer of credits. It also facilitates the transfer of students and faculty exchange and mutual cooperation. It is one favorable factor considered in a grant of the government assistance and other incentives. Help assurance the public of better qualified practitioners in the different professions. Lend proceeds to members' schools justified by the professions of quality standards and unremitting efforts to maintain and sustain them to a higher level, and helps identify the schools where competence and performance in a particular field warrant public and professional recognition. Okay? In this case, it will not only benefit the institution, but definitely ourselves, myself, the student body, the peer groups, the public will benefit also. In Section 30 of MRPS provides that the School of Educational Programs of courses of studies shall, for the purpose of progressive regulation and the grant of other benefits, be classified into level of accreditation. The conferment of the status level entities, the school concerned to additional administrative and academic prerogative. So the following are levels of accreditation status and responding benefits. Level 1, progressive deregulation, which involves limited administrative deregulation. Level 2, tuition in full administrative regulation. Level 3, circular regulation. Then the level 4, grant of annual subsidies to program of qualified education, the tertiary education institutions of the period of duration of its accreditation or re-accreditation status, approve of fund appropriate as part of the national budget processes. Okay? As mentioned here, that accreditation status, there are 4 levels of accreditation. As mentioned here, our school is past already the level 2 accreditation, the tuition and full administrative regulation. So, as a private institution, the students should pay tuition fee in order that they could accommodate the aside from the quality service, of course, that it is required in the institution that they have to pay the full tuition fee. Okay? Next. It is related studies, foreign. So in foreign related studies, we have Butler of 2003. It focuses studies of classroom assessment, shown that if a student is given only marks on grade, they do not form the feedback. Only marks on grades, they do not form the feedback on their work, whereas in closely matched situation, those who are given only relevant comments benefit. In this case, as foreign studies mentioned by the author Butler, that the student should be assessed showing grades. If the grade is 80, 85, 90, you put the appropriate grade, not putting only a mark A or B, or it should be specified. Okay? Black and William of 2001 investigated the implication and importance of framing the relevant curriculum for any improved academic performance of higher educational institutions. He found out that lifelong learning happens when a student is trained using a curriculum can raise the standards of student achievement. Deeper achievement is achieved. Students can particularly use what they have learned in day-to-day situations. Meaning, they have to be graded according to their achievement on a day-to-day situation, not in one situation only. Okay? Okay, Habibon of 2000 found out an effective program of formative assessment involves for more than the tradition of a few observations and tests to an existing program. It requires a careful scrutiny of all the components of the teaching plan. As the argument develops, it becomes clear that curriculum, instruction, and formative assessment are indivisible. Freedom of 1995 decided to drop accreditation, but no one would admit to having made the decision. Over 12 years or non-accreditation, neither the quality of education services offered by the school nor the students' college and career aspirations appeared to be significantly better by the school's accreditation status. Re-accreditation was sought primarily to issue the public that the school had a sound educational system in place. The researcher believed that the further was required. Whether the accreditation meets such aims as public accountability and school quality improvement. In this case, as far as the foreign author freedom is concerned, for over 12 of non-accrediting education services, the school nor student college would not appear the significant betterment of the school. Why? Because no accreditation had been done. It should be done to the accreditation way, and if they did not pass the accreditation, they go with re-accreditation, or meaning accredit again. Okay? Next, Bront-McMahon of 1994 attempted to describe and explain the effort of 3 seniors high school in Michigan that had successfully used the North Central Association Outcomes Accreditation, or AO, Opinion for Accreditations and School Improvement. The findings reveal that a mission and target goals help the school focus on the use of the organizational change, process, and classroom change. Personal variables of ages, gender, and length of time in education were not inhibiting factor for staff members, and the likelihood on the use of techniques learned in training sessions, responsibility in the program assessment mechanism, governance structures, policies, processes, and procedures, of state program approval, and professional accreditation system in medicine, architecture, nursing, and teaching in order to inform the development of a functional system of a state program approved and professionally accreditation and teaching. So the findings of the study that the states of and professional rule varied by professions. Generally, in all professions except teaching, the profession itself exhibited graded control. Then the state over professional preparation, while architecture exhibited the greatest intersection of station professional rule than responsibility. So it explains that there is a mission that you have to target the goal of any schools that we have. It's either in the Philippines or outside the Philippines, they have the goals and mission, and you have to target whatever or focus into it, so that any achievements will be based from that mission and the target goals that they have to consider. Okay? So the purpose of the study of Hogg 1994 was to investigate the question on the sociological history and relevance of post-secondary accreditation, and the U.S. findings of the study revealed process-oriented accreditation was not relevant to the era of adult orientation. Non-traditional post-secondary education. He recommended that the future investigation were needed to determine the extent of federal government involvement and the effects of that involvement upon the voluntary nature on the accreditation process. Furthermore, institutional accrediting associations should evaluate individual institutions in terms of their own purposes and the effects of that involvement upon the voluntary nature of the accreditation process, and that institutional accrediting association should evaluate individual institutions in terms of their own purposes, and that highly specialized non-traditional accrediting associations evaluate equivalent rather in power increases to the regional associations should be established to accredited non-traditional programs and institutions. So, as Ramirez stated that 2007 in his study entitled Knowledge on an Attitude Towards Accreditation and its Perceived Effect on Growth and Development, found out that on the 9 areas of accreditation, the respondents were knowledgeable on the 8 areas. What are these 8? Philosophy and objectives, faculty, instruction, laboratory, physical plant and facilities, student personal services, social orientation and community involvement, and organization and administration, while moderate knowledgeable among areas is the library, Why? Because some students, they do not want to go to library. They do not feel going library. Instead of that, they want to study in other area of the school. It was the old accreditation, as Ramirez stated 2007, but now the areas of accreditation, aside from the 9, the other one is research. The research which I am doing now is on the number 5 of accreditation. And they responded with more positive attitude towards accreditation. So the effects of accreditation on growth of the individuals, group, and all were perceived to be at the great event with overall mean rating of 3.7 and respectively. Okay? So, in that case, we will be presenting the continuation of this in the next presentation as I go and continue the research, the related literatures of research. So again, okay, yes. I'm done, not included that one. Yes, stop.